Hello and welcome back to Swinging at Shins, a Premier League podcast. I am Rhett and I'm joined, as always, by Aaron. Aaron, how are we doing?
I'm doing pretty good. I have a beer with a cat on it from Westkill. That's
there you go. I have a fine rye whiskey from Yankee Distillers. Matt, if you do ever find this, please just pay. You can pay me in whiskey. You're going to anyway, so it's fine. Just do that. Anyway, we have a lot to talk about. Match week 26 was full of great matches, surprise matches, blunders. Someone showed their manhood, maybe not during a match, maybe at a bar at like 2 p.m. on a Tuesday. Ooh, buddy.
Well,
anyway, before we get
going up on a Tuesday.
That is true. Before we get too far into that, we are Swinging at Shins. Please hit that like button. Please hit the subscribe button. Please hit the follow button. Whichever button you have like that, hit it up. You can find us on Instagram. We do have a Facebook. We don't update it all that often. I actually had a guy who was trying to get a hold of me on Facebook for the Albany Gooners thing. And then he finally found me on Instagram, and I replied to him immediately there. And I'm just like, dude, I'm sorry. So anyway, you can find all of that in the description below. Please engage however you can. On to the week. Liverpool are back.
And
they have shown out. They manhandled Manchester United. There's no other way to say it. And this is five straight Premier League clean sheets. We kind of got caught up in the memes a bit, especially with that Real Madrid loss, but 5 straight clean sheets, that's impressive.
That's starting to turn it around. That's not starting to turn around. It's starting to show that they're back to being Liverpool again.
I think it's okay to say starting to turn around. I think the problem isn't starting. I think they are in mid-turn. They have hit bottom and they are on their way back up, and we were missing it because of the memes. Yep. Speaking of memes, and I'm going to be very sad if they have to disappear. Chelsea they're on a win streak. I mean, not in the Prem. They beat Leeds in the Prem, but then they beat Dortmund 2-0 at the Bridge to go on to the next round of the Champions League.
That's the only thing they have going for them.
Well, that's a very good thing to have going for them.
Oh, I'm not saying that's something that we should knock. I'm just saying that the fans have something to cheer about.
I saw Todd Bowley smile for the first time in
no kidding, I did
ever.
Too. I was like, holy good God.
That's what it looks like. That's how you know he's really an American owner, because you can not throw up after you look at his teeth. Keeping up with memes, though, Spurs continue a sad performance with a 1-0 loss to Wolves. Mm-hmm. People not on the Lopetegui bandwagon should really climb aboard right now. I am the coordinator, the conductor, the whatever you want to call it. I've been on it since he first was originally brought on. Spurs right now, as we record this, it is 0-0 against Milan at halftime. They are down 1-0 on aggregate.
Yep.
So West Ham suffer a terrible loss at the hands of Brighton. How Moyes has a job beyond me.
Yeah. That's the guy I kind of pegged to be the next firing.
I know. You brought that up last time. 4-0 loss. I know Brighton's good. I get it, but damn.
I just recently watched that game too. We'll hop into it more, but it didn't look good.
No. What was good, and I think a little bit unflattering, was the Man City Newcastle match. Newcastle, for large parts of that match, were direct. They were very direct. They were a lot more direct than I've seen them against other teams. Of course, with City, they scored 3 the first time. Their problem is they're not scoring anymore. But against teams like Arsenal, they were very reserved. I thought they were very direct. I thought before the second City goal, they really had a good run of play there. But City did City things, and it doesn't matter. Valiant effort, boys. But what else are you going to do? That brought City back to within 2 points of the league leaders, and Kyle Walker celebrated by getting absolutely off his face in public and exposing himself, and is now facing a police probe. So good job, Kyle Walker.
Look, he felt out of touch because City as an organization is getting probed. So he figured he wants to get probed.
Yeah, he said, you know what would be better if I had more law enforcement literally up my ass. But we're going to go to what is obviously my favorite story of the weekend. Arsenal at the hour mark against Bournemouth. At home, at the Emirates, Fortress Emirates. They were down 2-0. Mm-hmm. At full time, they led 3-2. They had 3 goals, all from unlikely sources. 1 Thomas Partey, 1 Ben White, and 1 sub who came on for a sub, Reece Nelson. I'm going to cover this in the Way West Stand, and I'm still going to cover it a little bit more here, but I want to hear your thoughts on it.
Who was it? Carragher had said, I think it was Carragher, Neville, one of those two, were saying how if this was a Man City turnaround, we'll be praising Man City. Way to get there. Good job, guys. You
absolutely no way it was Neville.
It's probably Carragher.
Must have been Carragher. It could not have been Neville.
But if we're looking at the lens of Arsenal, it's like, how could they have let Bournemouth score 2 on them and then leave it to the dying minutes to finish the game out and get the 3 points? I actually, whoever had said it, I agree with the fact that we're playing a bias right now, and we don't want to see anybody else but Man City win. And Arsenal played exactly how Man City have in the past when they were down, and they probed and they probed and they probed, and they finally got that last second goal, the last minute goal, the thing that all champions tend to have on their record. As
you put it, it was at the buzzer.
Yeah, yes. It was at the buzzer.
I hung out with a friend after the match who was not a soccer fan, but obviously I was buzzing. I was like, I carried that high through the entire weekend.
I would imagine.
And he asked, he's like, so is that like the final play? And I'm like, well, technically it can't be, but it's literally as close to being the final play as you could possibly be.
Yeah.
I think you bring up a good point. I don't think it's so much that we want to see City win, because I think everyone's sick of City. And I also think that it would be different if it wasn't Arsenal, but Arsenal is coming out of their banter era, as we like to call it. And everyone's just waiting for them to screw up, right? Yeah. So when Arsenal goes down 2-0 to Bournemouth, everybody, including Arsenal fans, in fact, maybe even more Arsenal fans than anyone else, is going, all right, here we go. I know how this works out.
I've seen the script.
So now when it turns around, it's, oh my God, Arsenal pulled it out. Mm-hmm. When, like you said, the exact same, City could have played the exact same match and everyone would be like, oh yeah, but that's City for you. Mm-hmm. And that's deserved on City's part. I understand that. One thing, not to get into it because we won and I don't really care, but they were the first goal should not have counted. When they lined up, when they lined up guys in the bottom, at least one of them went early. Like, was it across the half field line? But was it? I'm just saying.
Everybody does it. Do you remember my favorite thing that pops up?
We just had Chelsea get a second PK because of encroachment there. I'm just saying. That's really bad. That's really bad. Everybody crowds the ref, but Arsenal's getting fines for that. So,
is when everyone was doing the kneeling for. Black Lives Matter, and it's Benteke and Son, I think, and everyone goes to kneel down, and Benteke runs, and Son runs with Benteke, and it's like, oh wait, we got that's how.
And then they like grabbed both, and they both kneeled, and then like Benteke was just on Son's side, and then they were just I remember that. That was funny. And then
that's what I'm alluding to, though.
And no one's talking about it because Thomas Partey made up for it with his goal. But that second one, Thomas Partey just switched off for a second. He just lost his man, and you can tell when you watch that back, he knows it. Mm-hmm. He's hanging his head. That's sometimes it just takes one person to screw up, and that was one of those times where just one person screwed up. I can't get over the fact that Arsenal. It's not that I can't believe that Arsenal won, but it's like at a certain point you're kind of thinking we can't keep getting away with it. Yeah. and then we still managed to keep getting away with it. And the guys who are doing it, something that Carragher did say, and I think that this is something that's very important. We've kind of alluded to this in the past with the whole Haaland thing with City. Again, not that City's having a bad season at all, but no one in Arsenal is the guy. We have everyone. It's kind of like in the NFL, we have Bill Belichick in the whole "do your job" era with that second run of Super Bowls, where it's like no one on the field is better than the other person's, like than the person on the other team. Like, yeah, we have some really good players, obviously, but no one's like one-to-one better necessarily. Everyone just needs to do their job and take advantage of what we can do. And I think the Ben White goal was perfect, which, by the way, was assisted by Reece. Mm-hmm. Trossard came off early. Eddie wasn't even in the team. So Eddie's not in the team. Jesus isn't in the team. Trossard came off early. Emile Smith-Rowe came on. I think it's just a fitness issue because no one's talking about him being injured, but he comes off again in the 65th.
Yeah.
And Nelson comes on, and he assists the Ben White goal and then gets the winner. And it's just like this guy doesn't even start. Half the time he doesn't even get on. I mean, more than half the time he doesn't even get on the field, but next guy up kind of mentality. Anyway, the point I was making was the whole Carragher thing. He was talking about when they went into the World Cup break, they were 5 points clear, and they had Gabriel Jesus, who was a revelation. And now they haven't had Jesus since the World Cup, and it's been 2 to 3 months, and they're 5 points clear. And it's just we talk about our lack of depth, and yeah, we don't have the same depth that City does, but the way our team is balanced is really, really well done. Everyone can step up and score. Everyone can defend. It's just it's a beautiful thing to watch. Enough. Yeah, it is exactly that. The sum is greater than the whole of the parts, or however that saying goes. All right, enough about that. Let's jump to your team real quick.
Yes, what about them?
I think big win.
I thought it was it was necessary in the sense that we're not losing to mid-table teams. And we're putting out points for mid-table teams. That's the feeling that I get. Should we have gotten more, especially with Czech Decore getting or it's not Czech Decore. No, either way, getting a red card and them going Crystal Palace going down to 10 men. Yeah.
Yes, it was.
Oh, okay. I thought I was getting the other Decore from Everton mixed up.
No, that's his name. And by the way, for anyone who is new to this podcast, Aaron, who is speaking right now, who was speaking, is a Villa fan. Whew, buddy. Guys, we got so much going on. Anyway, he is a Villa fan. Villa beat Crystal Palace 1-0 off a Anderson own goal and helped out by Decore getting a second yellow just like 5 minutes after the first yellow.
Yeah, it was neither of those yellows were. First off, the one yellow took out Boubacar Kamara. He's out for a month. Thanks, Chick. And then the other yellow, I don't remember. It doesn't matter. But it definitely helped Villa out in the sense that they could just control the ball at that point. In fact, in that particular game, I think they had over 350 some passes in their own third, which is exactly how Unai runs his teams. And there was an interview with Matty Cash saying, like, you guys, fans need to be patient. We're building something. You love what you're seeing now, you're going to love it more.
I don't even know if fans need to be patient.
I'm impatient with the style of play.
I mean, honestly, right now, what this match did is you let the other team make dumb mistakes, and you took advantage of those mistakes. And yes, you didn't throttle them. But if you throttle them or if you win by 1, you still put 3 points up on the board.
No. Yeah.
And it wasn't – this is the type of match where even in the beginning of the season, if this exact same scoreline happened with these exact 2 teams, but you flopped them, I would have gone, yeah, Villa screwed it up. Villa made a mistake. Gerrard doesn't know what he's doing, what have you. And now I look at this and I just see a Palace team that got just out-professionaled. Not a bad team, still a good team, but Yui is not going to let your team handle themselves this poorly unless you have Socrates and David Luiz, and then, who the hell knows what happens. I also think that this opened up. This was 11-12 on the 11v12 on the standings on the table. And most of the time we talk about top half of the table versus the bottom half of the table.
Never really talk about the middle.
It's like 11-1 is the top half, and the bottom half is everyone else. And this match really cemented there's Arsenal, and then there's a gap, and then there's Man City, and then there's a big gap, and then there's the top four fighters, right? And then you have your mid tables. But after the mid table, there's another big drop off in quality before you get to the relegation battle, which West Ham and Leicester and Leeds all see themselves caught up in. And if Palace aren't careful, as your note says here, by the way, it's wishful thinking that they haven't won a match this season. They just haven't won a match in the calendar year 2023.
I didn't mean to write season. I meant to write 2023. This year.
I figured. But there's that gap, and Villa fans right now have to be screw the Everton guy who said that, Villa should know better. No. You guys are beyond that. You guys are not in that dogfight. You guys are middle of the table on your way up.
Yeah.
And I would be so happy if I was you guys, especially with the way this season started.
Oh God, we could have been in the relegation zone right now.
Quite frankly, yeah. If you still had Gerrard, you would be. I think it's that simple.
Yeah. I don't know what the right word is. I say that a lot in this. Either way, I have a small vocabulary. But what I'm going to say is I tip a cap to the ownership for pulling the trigger soon enough to get somebody who is qualified to coach.
It's difficult. It is difficult. Like, how do you know?
The two hardest things: finding a manager who is able to manage your club and finding a striker to score goals.
Yeah, again, I would argue that technical director right now is getting up there too, because now you got to find a technical director that works with your manager. They can't be at odds. They can't. But no, I would argue it's harder to figure out, and it's funny because I talked about this in the Welcome to Wrexham one. I'm remembering Rob McElhenney talking with the owner of the Philadelphia Eagles, and he was talking about when he had to fire Cheeseburger Man.
Peterson?
What's his name? No, Andy Reid.
Oh.
And how difficult of a decision that was, but how it ended up being the right decision in the long run.
Yeah.
And it's so yes, it's easy in hindsight to say, Gerrard was awful. First of all, you kind of got to have a guy lined up. And if you don't replace him with a guy like Emery, then are you actually moving forward? But secondly, look at Lampard. I think Lampard's a perfect example. Mm-hmm. He did well at Chelsea when he was there. He didn't do heights. He wasn't, Jose Mourinho coming in and I suddenly win every single match. Mm-hmm. But he did well. And Chelsea got rid of him, and people were surprised at the time. And now look at what else Lampard has gone on and done, and now you're like, wow, that was the right decision.
Yeah.
And then
coach anyway. Problem is, continue your sentence out.
But you're looking from the outside in, and you never really know. Yeah. I know this because half of Arsenal fans were Arteta out, and James McNicholas did a wonderful article in the Athletic about all the people. He found a bunch of people, including the first guy to ever do #Arteta out, and where they are now. Yeah. Right. So it's so difficult to figure out where it is. Where are you going to land? And then you have Chelsea, who are just singing our praises for being smart enough to get rid of Potter. Mm-hmm. Get rid of Lampard. Did he not seem like a slam dunk? Yes, firing Tuchel after you went out and got Tuchel striker, and when you did it and how you did it, that was all bad.
Weird.
But when they had Potter come in, everyone else in the top 6 who deals with Chelsea all the time is kind of like, shit.
Yep.
I don't want to deal with it. And now, obviously, that's just imploded. And I'm not saying that is Potter's fault or not, but it's incredibly hard to nail it. Not everyone's Pep.
Nope.
And quite frankly, Tottenham and Conte are proving even Conte can't win everywhere.
Well, Conte's not there right now. It's a very small thing to say, but.
And they're performing kind of better.
Except for this weekend.
No. But, Lopetegui.
I guess if you run into bottom half teams, they tend to have nothing to play for. Not nothing. That's a really wrong thing to say. They have everything to play for, so they're going to play.
I was going to say they are not free of.
No, they're 14th, something like that.
13th now.
That was close.
They are 5 points out of the relegation zone.
Yeah.
Even with Crystal Palace on points. They're doing very well.
Yep.
Anyway, this next one goes out to Matt Woods from the Beer Garden because you are going to love this topic. Liverpool 7, Manchester United 0.
A touchdown.
They have no love. Touchdown with the extra point.
Yeah.
I have no love for Liverpool, but they did allow me to see that look on Gary Neville's face. And I'm very happy about that.
Yeah. He's not one of my favorite pundits. I actually have grown to like Carragher, to be honest.
Carragher, I don't know, he seems like looser. He's not taking himself as seriously.
Oh, yeah.
I didn't mind Neville, especially when it was like Neville's soccer box or whatever it was, where he would talk one-on-one. Like, he's good talking one-on-one. I think he just takes like the punditry, and I had to say something a little bit too far.
Yeah.
Like, after Arsenal beat United and were like 8 points clear at the point, he's like, well, I still think that United are going to – I still think City wins the league, and I still think United's going to finish above Arsenal and all. And it's just like, just be happy with how quickly Eric – sorry, I saw this the other day. No, Eric Sevenhog. Oh. With how well the turnaround's been, because, God, you needed it to be that good.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's Neville's problem. But anyway, Liverpool are back, and I don't mean that as in, oh, hey, they had it, because we all thought this with the whole Bournemouth 9-0 thing. Mm-hmm. Liverpool's front three finally decided that they knew how to attack.
Oh, they look so good.
I'm scared. I'm scared. And I was telling Matt the last time I saw him at the Beer Garden, I'm like, can you guys stop fucking around with Gakpo? Because I love him. And he's done nothing since he went to Liverpool. Can you just fix it? Well, they did. They did. He looks so good.
It's the guy that they paid for it.
Nunez looks great too.
Nunez.
Sell him. He does look great.
I was wondering if everybody at the bar shouting "sell him" at this point. I'm at home yelling "shout sell him."
Sell him. No, he looks fantastic. He looks so good. Salah looks like a man reborn.
Did you see the stat where Darwin Nunez is actually the highest expected goal scorer at like 0.73?
I'm not surprised. He's got them. Well, see, so Haaland was way outperforming expected goals. It's the problem with expected goals. He was way outperforming, and Nunez was way underperforming.
Yeah,
Nunez gets good. He gets good attacking chances. He was just missing a lot, which is why everyone was like, sell him, because they're like, oh my God, look at this idiot. He can't finish. Well, yeah, until he can.
Yeah.
And then I was really impressed.
I thought this game was very much old gegenpress Liverpool. I thought they did an extremely good job at pressing players, counter pressing, and winning the ball back in the attacking third. I thought
you say gegenpressing. I'm going to say this is that heavy metal football that Klopp loves to play.
Yeah, you're right. It's a different brand of it, but it looked vintage Liverpool, and they did a really good job of being able to cut through. And yes, there was some lucky breaks, like the Salah third or fourth goal, where it just landed to his feet and he screamed it.
That's still a good finish. It's a lucky break, but you're taking advantage of a lucky break. the Bobby Firmino goal, and I am happy that he gets a goal right after he announces that he's going to leave the team.
Yeah.
Because he's got such a history there.
Yep.
That goal was pretty lucky. So you look at it, expected goals 0.82 to 2.78. Liverpool had some goals off some really bad chances.
Yes.
Nunez's second goal came off the back of his head.
Yeah.
Yeah, he went up and met it. Right. So but he bunned it in. I think Salah's second goal was like, you do not expect him to score there. However, Salah completely turning Martinez was amazing.
Ooh.
I have not seen Lisandro Martinez that lost, maybe ever.
Ooh. He's taking lessons from Maguire.
He was literally facing the wrong way.
Oh, it's so
and then he fell down.
Yeah.
And then Gakpo just with the perfect finish.
Yep.
Oh, that's dangerous. I mean, that scores on anybody. There's not a defense in the league that they can't, which is why I'm saying Salah looks like a man reborn. Yep. I saw a really, really defeated Manchester United very quickly. And I think Bruno Fernandes is, first of all, how he has the captaincy is just.
Yeah, I mean, Ten Hag's backing him still.
He's not the guy you want to be the captain.
Who do you want captaining? Just curious.
In that United side?
Yes.
I'm sorry. Am I crazy or is it not Casemiro?
I think the only reason you don't or didn't at that moment was because he got just transferred in. So there's an order you have to go through.
No, there's not. Not when a guy comes in and completely turns your season around with a new manager who's completely turned your season around. This guy's won 27 Champions Leagues. When he's playing on the team, their expected goals are like 2.4 and their expected goals against is like 0.7. And when he's not in the team, they're like 0.1, like 1.7 and 1.7 even. Mm-hmm. He is like the team. He is so good.
Fred.
No. I do like that Fred's turned it around. I'm a Mick Fred hater, and I've been a Mick Fred hater loud and proud for a very long time. It turns out that the Mick part, not Mick that way, but the McTominay part was the issue. Mm-hmm. I don't think McTominay's a bad player. I think just too many things were asked of McTominay. I like that Fred's turned it around, but it is one of those things, rising tide raises all ships. Rashford turned it on. Casemiro, and by the way, Varane and Martinez. This is the thing that drives me crazy about United. They can just buy exactly who they need in a window. That they then immediately after the window say that they're going to sell the team, and Casemiro and Martinez. We talk about how good Arsenal's transfer window is because they went and got people that people didn't expect.
Yeah,
Man United's window. Holy crap. They went from a team that maybe should have been fighting for fifth to at one point people legitimately thought were in a title race. They've won the EFL Cup. They're a good shout for the FA Cup. They're a good shout for Europa. Yeah. They're going to be in Champions League football next year unless they implode.
I don't see that happening.
I don't see it happening either and again, I say this works the other way too. You say, are these people going to run up the table? And I say, well, look at how many people have to drop points for United to implode. Even if they do implode and they start really dropping points, which I don't see happening. Spurs has to get a lot better suddenly. Newcastle has to get a lot better suddenly. Fulham has to maintain it, which eventually Bernd Leno is going to stop standing on his head.
I don't know, man. I think it's the Tim Ream show there.
It is a Tim Ream show.
Not American bias at all.
And the Jedi Robinson show.
Of course.
And actually, what was his name? He got Fulham have 2 players of the month shortlisted. Solomon.
Oh, dude, some of his goals were filthy. The one against Brighton and the one against I'm not going to pull it off my head, but it was a curler and it was so gorgeous. One of those two need to. I don't remember what the rest of the goals in the month were, but that curler was absolutely filthy.
I'm having a hard time remembering when goals started and stopped. Like there's just so many. Honestly, yeah.
I have that too because I mash them all together when I watch. So I have like at work. I do 2 screens. I got 2 screens, and I put 4 games up, and I just play them all. And I'm like, over here. I was like, how am I supposed to else going to fit in 10 games?
No, I feel you, man. I feel you.
Watch the highlights. You don't get the feel. It's not the same.
Well, the extended ones that NBC put out are pretty good. They're like 20 minutes long.
I agree.
You don't get the feel. You don't get all the ebbs and flows, but it's better than Fox Sports. Here's 3 minutes.
Come on. Be better. Do
all good. Right. Who do you want to talk about next?
I think we should talk about. Let's see. I think we should go to the low and go to the Spurs.
Love this. This was this match, man. Oh, I love it. This is such a good weekend to be a Gooner. Oh my God.
So I said lows, and there's West Ham who actually ended up giving up 4. So
yeah, but we're going
to the low again. I don't know.
Listen, Tifo put out a video of why is it so boring to watch this team, and the team is not West Ham.
I didn't watch that, but I did see that pop up there.
I mean, it was JJ Bull, so he's fair almost to a fault. But this was
a tale of 2 halves.
So we've talked about this a couple times. We go to the beer garden. I go to the beer garden pretty much every week. 1, because I live like half a mile away from it. And 2, because when your team wins all the damn time and you're going to show up with 15 of your crew to watch the team win all the damn time, it's easier to go. The Liverpool contingent, always there, no matter how bad their season got, was always there. We had a snowstorm in the Northeast on Saturday. I did not think it was a particularly bad one, but some people did.
It was wet.
It was wet, and it did cause some down trees, so that's an issue. Yes. But it wasn't like unsafe to drive. Carl opened up the beer garden at 7:30 for the Man City match.
Yeah.
And he was the only one there until Arsenal fans started to show up for the 10 o'clock match.
Well, he likes it that way.
But we're not talking about that. We're talking about Spurs. He was kind of pitching, but we're talking about Spurs. There were 2 Chelsea fans there. There were 12 to 15 Arsenal fans there. The Spurs game was not even put on a TV. We were all, there was none.
Oh, that's weird.
We were all like trying to get that last goal across. And Carl just looks at all of us. He's like, Spurs is losing 1-0. And we're just like, what? So that's where their season's at. It is just poor. They're not bad. They're in a position that Arsenal would have killed for last year.
Yeah.
But you never want to watch it.
No. Like, I would rather put on Brighton or
hell yeah.
Or
Fulham.
Yeah, I mean, they're not a terrible team to watch. They're more exciting than Tottenham. And that's not to say that Tottenham's not getting it done either, because obviously they're in 4th with a Champions League position here for now. But it's just, what's the word? Hold on. I want to see if I'm using this word right. They're just boring.
You are using boring right, yes.
Oh, that's not what a word I was going to say malaise. Which is interesting. They're a weed.
We can pluck them out. Yeah. I'm okay with that.
Well, Liverpool might. But anyway, it's a boring brand of football. They're waiting for Harry Kane to get a PK or a header in the box. And the only exciting thing that's really happened for Spurs is that Oliver Skip goal. That's it. And that was
really.
Personally, 2 games ago.
Yeah. Oh, yes, I remember now that Chelsea goal that you're talking about.
Yeah, that's pretty much it. I don't want to watch it. And who, like, I guess if you're a fan, you might want to watch it. And even at that rate, I haven't talked to, I guess we'll have to ask our resident Tottenham fan, Malcolm. Does he even bother watching?
Who knows with them, man?
I guess they could be in fourth. They'll probably end up fifth or sixth.
Moving on, we have West Ham. I think we got to talk about West Ham Brighton.
I think we need to talk about West Ham in general. And sadly, Brighton's going to be. I say sadly because we're going to talk about West Ham and how bad they are instead of how good Brighton are and have been. Because I think, let me look and see what this is. Their form. Just kidding. Give me like 2.5 seconds. They are doing okay. They lost to Fulham, but aside from that, their last 5 are 3-1-1. It's pretty solid.
Yeah.
But West Ham are in the shitter. They have not been playing well.
No, not at all.
I thought they were turning around at that 4-0 win last week. And even at that rate, all of their goals came after the 60th minute. So, to that, it's like you didn't take your opportunities or didn't have the capabilities to score, or they finally broke down the team. I don't know. I don't remember that match. It all, again, a lot of matches blend together, but West Ham has a real problem. That's what it comes down to.
Guys, if it sounds like what these guys don't know what they're talking about, is there anything going on? It's so that Forest game. This is what's so weird about them. They scored all those games. It was all in the second half.
Yeah,
like it was within 15 minutes.
I was going to say 70 around the 70th too. I wanted to give myself a buffer. I was like, I was going to say around the 72nd minute.
Ings 70, 73, Rice in the 78th, Antonio in the 85th. Also a game against Forest.
Yeah.
Which I don't think that there's anything wrong with Forest per se. Mm-hmm. I think that Forest is just this very weird.
They're very a home-driven team.
Yeah, and they're also never consistent. Like they've done enough that they're not in a relegation zone right now, but they're not what I would call consistent in any way.
No. And West Ham did exactly what they should have done for in that game against Forest.
Yep, and then they turn around. They have since that game is a 1-1 draw to Chelsea. This is the last 5. 1-1 draw to Chelsea, 2-0 loss to Tottenham, 4-0 win to Forest, 3-1 loss to United, and then a 4-0 loss to Brighton.
That United was an FA Cup. Just clarifying, but it doesn't help. And then they got to go tomorrow, I believe.
Yeah, Conference League plays on Thursdays.
Play Conference League. Are they tired or are they bad?
Both.
Tired and bad.
Honestly, both. Absolutely. And they're going to Cyprus.
This shows you how sustainable Liverpool have been. They're the same thing. They're tired and bad in Liverpool standards.
Yeah.
But
they are.
They're turning it around. They've just needed to figure themselves out. I don't know what West Ham's doing. They don't have a direction is what I'm concerned about. A step down, I guess. I don't think they're going down, but they're going to be really that bottom 5 right there, the West Ham, Leeds, Everton, Southampton, and Bournemouth they're going to be duking it out all season.
Yep.
And that's not to
no doubt
discount Leicester too, unfortunately, but I don't see them going down. Man, it's tough because they're not scoring many goals either. They're doing all right, I suppose. But it's West Ham, man. I don't get it. What I did watch in that game is they played very narrow, defended very narrow, and Brighton just tore them apart through the middle, playing narrow. They did the one thing that they should have tried to protect it, and they still couldn't do it. They found all the pockets, Brighton. They found all the open space that they needed and scored 4 goals, exactly what they should have done. It's kind of embarrassing for David Moyes.
Yeah, no, I agree. I also, I mean, to a certain point, I think they struck out with Skamaka.
Probably. Early, but probably.
He has 16 matches, 3 goals, no assists, fought mob rating of 6.55.
He's also
I understand. Yes, yes, you're right. He's also, I mean, if he was in a better team.
Well, we've talked about this before too, where the service isn't quality for him either. Hasn't been quality for him to play off the ball well. And Bowen hasn't been himself. Bowen had a phenomenal year last year. Maybe it's one of those things where Bowen is. That was peak right there. And what we're getting this year from Bowen is bad Bowen. And there's nothing in between right now. We can't tell what's in between, but it's not this. Like he had I want to say he had a sitter that he just absolutely missed in the FA Cup. Maybe it was the last match. And just shot it right at the goalie. I'm like, if you put it anywhere else, it was a goal. But you put it right at the goalkeeper, and it's easy to take, easy to swallow.
Yeah, it's always tough. It's always tough with those types because you know, like you're just thinking, get it on goal.
Yeah.
And then it doesn't ever end up working out that way where you actually get it on goal, and then you're like, oh, shit.
Mm-hmm.
How did we screw that up?
They're playing with Alfonso Areola now. Fabianski broke his cheekbone. And I still don't think
hear that. That sucks.
Yeah, I just looked at that. I saw that he was playing this weekend. I thought they had done a switch at goalkeeper because to try something different. Obviously, that's not Fabianski's the better goalkeeper, or at least this particular case. But I still don't think even if Fabianski was in, he would have been able to save the goals that were let in. They were just quality. The Matoma goal was the last one. I can't remember if he scored 2 goals, but it was.
I think he just scored the one.
It was that back post find from Sully Marsh, possibly, and he just slid right past. He knocked it in on a sliding past the post on the opposite side post, hits it in on the other side. Oh, it was like, way to give up your body, dude. If you crashed into the post and scored a goal, that would have been awesome. Like,
yeah. No, I agree with you.
This is one of those things where you're like, yes, that's awesome. Way to give yourself up.
All right. Moving on off West Ham, because I guess we're just in shock, and that's why we can't really come up with that much. Normally, I would say we're going to go straight to true false. But before we do that, a new month has come and passed. Probably should have done this last week, but we didn't. Doing it now. A month has come and passed. Mm-hmm. I want to know who is your player and manager of the month?
It's going to be kind of simple because he had such a good month again. That particular month, it's probably going to be Rashford, and it's probably going to be Ten Hag, and United's just going to scoop it right up.
See, I'm not going to go with Rashford.
Who are you going to go with?
I'm really torn, and I don't think that Rashford doesn't deserve it. He has been superb. I think Ollie Watkins did an awful lot on a team that had a bad month.
It's true.
I think Iheanacho did an awful lot on a bad team.
Yep, that's true too.
2 goals, 3 assists. And quite honestly, and I already said his name, if Bernd Leno wasn't standing on his head half the time, I don't even know what they would do.
He's been the perfect goalkeeper for Fulham. I mean, they've done a good enough job to not to shadow his weakness on set pieces. So
I agree. And hopefully Arsenal remembers that. We know it better than anyone. Hopefully they remember that issue.
Well, this would be the second, right? This would be the double.
Yeah.
And that's how they got him last time.
Yep. And I mean, luckily, Fulham didn't look all that crazy if it wasn't for the Mitrovic picking, I think, Gabriel's pocket, Big Gabby's pocket. Yeah, it was because he's the one who got the goal and it was a redeemer. And also to be fair. Yeah, to be fair. Odegaard's first goal that got us level in that match was a really, really big deflection. Doinked right off someone's hip. So I don't know. I think I'd give it to Leno. And I think I'm going to give manager of the month to Marco Silva.
I don't mind Silva getting that either. I think he just picked up too many draws. He drew against Chelsea, who have been flailing, and then he drew against who was it? Somebody else too. Wolves.
Drawing against Wolves is nothing to be ashamed of.
No, but
beat Forest, beat Brighton. Brighton is their main competition this season.
They beat Brighton with that
and Brentford. Yeah.
Filthy. That's who it was. That's who I'm thinking about.
All right. We are moving on to true false. Let's keep this train rolling. I think I had you go first last time, so I'm going to go first.
Yep.
Here's mine. Are you ready? Here's my number 1. Here's my opening salvo. I actually have 4 for you.
Salvo. Huh? Okay.
Liverpool finished 3rd. 7-point difference, I believe.
3rd.
7-point difference between United and Liverpool right now.
False. I still think United is a quality team, and I just think they ran into a Liverpool team who is also quality, but they really needed to redeem themselves kind of quality, and they needed to show on a stage.
My main thought process was who has more competitions left. And with Liverpool pretty much assuredly being out of the CL, I think United would be stretched too thin. But I got you.
That's a fair thought too. All right. So between Newcastle, Brighton, and Fulham, Brighton have the best chance of snagging the final European Cup chance for next season.
True. I think Brighton's a little bit more complete of a team. Mm-hmm. And I think people keep forgetting that Brighton have 2 to 3 games in hand.
I actually kind of did forget.
Yeah, everyone forgets. I forget.
So let's play the game where they get 6 points, 9 points. That's how math works. Mm-hmm. Out of all those, they'll be up to 47, mm-hmm. which would project them to be in 4th ahead of Tottenham.
Yep. If so they win all their games in hand. Yeah. Yeah. In fact, hold on. Let me look at this. They could Newcastle, if Newcastle wins their games in hand, Newcastle would be tied.
Okay.
And then it comes down. Goal difference is only separated by 4 right now. So it comes down to who wins by more. But yeah. All right. My next one is...
Mm-hmm.
All right, we're going to say this was kind of what we were talking about. My next one is Brentford finish higher than Newcastle.
Well, Yeah, true. Newcastle are letting in goals. And I think you said they were not scoring goals. I think they're letting in goals now.
Yeah, they are well, they're letting in more goals than they used to. They've still let in 17, which no team has let in less than 20. The nearest to that is 3 teams, it looks like. Chelsea, somehow.
Well, they lose one.
City and Arsenal all have let in 25. They've only let in 17.
What was it? I can't remember the starting 4 combination. I think it was like Burn, Trippier, and who was the 2 center backs there? Anyway, it was the thing that not JJ Bull, but the other guy had said that combination of players in the back hadn't lost a game up until recently, where that combination of players have lost a game. But they have been playing at such a high level. I think at just some point they're going to need to let off. And I think this is the trajectory that's happening. Is Brighton is going to take that upswing, and at that moment, Newcastle are taking that downswing.
Well, and also, to be fair to Newcastle, 1-1 draw to West Ham doesn't look great. 1-1 draw to Bournemouth doesn't look great. After that, Liverpool, United, City.
That's not great.
That's really tough. That's tough. All right, what's your next one?
My next one is the 2 saves have now 2 saves. I read a different one at the same time. The two wins that Chelsea have now picked up successfully have now saved Graham Potter's job.
False, because I don't think that they were going to fire Potter anyway. I think it definitely makes him look better. But I don't think he was on the way out.
If they would have taken him to the end of the season, and I think maybe this is more of an off-season question. I have a lot of off-season questions, but that's just because.
Well, and that's the other issue. So I don't think in the off-season they're going to look back. I mean, maybe going through to the next round of the Champions League, but I don't think they're going to look back at Potter and say, "Well, you managed a 1-0 victory versus Leeds in match week 26, so we're going to keep you." You know what I mean? Like maybe the Champions League thing, sure, but I don't know why I typed. Oh, because I started typing one and then I went on to another one. I'm kind of surprised Brian didn't see that and go, "What's wrong with you?" Wolves finished 12th.
You know, it's funny. I almost picked something like that for the Wolves, and I was like, nah. 12th, huh?
Yeah.
Man. Here's why I'll say true. Because Crystal Palace still hasn't won this 2023 year. That is why, and that is why I brought up in the last episode of why Patrick Vieira might be on the hot seat. How I think he could be on the hot seat.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. I just think it's crazy with what Wolves' start to the season was.
I really think that Crystal Palace and the Wolves are actually the same team. They're really, no, seriously, if you look at them, I think, so Wolves have Acuna, they have Acuna, not Acuna. That's a baseball player, guys. They have Adama Traore, who is just speed. What I'm trying to get at is they have a lot of the same talented prospects. They have Ruben Neves.
My issue is I don't know if Palace has the prospects. I think that there are 2 teams doing this. Woo, just passing. One on the way up, one on the way down.
Could be. I mean,
All right. Yeah, no, I see the point you're trying to make, and it's something we might flesh out going forward. Right now, I'm not seeing it, but right now I'm seeing differences. Like, I don't know who Zaha is on Wolves, and I don't know who Diaz is on Palace, but
I mean, I could figure it out, but I don't want.
I know you could. That's what I'm saying. It's probably something that we would explore.
Yes.
All right. What else you got?
How many are we doing? 3 today?
So I want to do my fourth because I think my fourth is fun.
Okay. Cool.
But you can only give me 3. That's cool.
No, I actually have 4 for a change.
All right, let's get into it.
Jurgen Klopp will be the coach of the month in March.
True. Because he only has Bournemouth and Fulham left to play because there's an international break at the end. Absolutely true.
I mean, he's also, again, we talked about it. He's 5 shutouts.
Now, April 1st is City.
Well, that'll be fun.
April 4th is Chelsea. Both away. And then at home, April 9th is Arsenal.
Jesus.
So he will not be manager of the month in April, but probably in March.
Have you noticed that like there's a block that they've done this to every team where it's like a block of like really bad stretch of teams you have to face if you're not a top team, like top 3 team.
Well, even then, I'm sure you can pull it out with any team. There was a block for Arsenal, I think. There's been those blocks, and a lot of it's because a lot of the teams people didn't see being, they're not going to be that good. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. No, that's fair. No, it just seems more magnified, probably because I'm paying way more attention.
Probably.
But
no, I see your point. All right, here's my last one for fun. Richarlison goes the entire season without a goal.
Oh my God, that's comical because I was thinking about Richarlison, like how he's just straight up disappeared. I feel like that's got to be false. He's got to run into one on accident. Like they'll give him a pen just for
26 games in. 26 games in. He's got to be on the field to get a pen.
That's true. They did sub him in too, like at the 80th minute or something like that.
And are you really going to take away a pen from Kane? I don't see it happening. Kane's like, listen, the only reason, So now Kane has to be injured, and they're not going to give it to Son.
Or subbed off.
Yeah.
Like if they're winning like 4-0 and Kane's been subbed off and Son's been subbed off and they get a PK, and then Richarlison gets a goal. And who knows? He might not actually have a goal.
He could shank it. He could shank it. My heart says yes. My heart says it doesn't happen.
Oh.
Anyway, hit me with your last one.
He's high on that bicycle kick from the World Cup still.
Probably.
Okay. If the Spurs fire Conte at the end of the season, do the Spurs go back and call an old friend in Poch? Or will, I should say, to make it.
I'm going to say true because I don't know what else Poch is waiting for, but I want to say false because
you don't go back to an ex.
No, I can't imagine that. No, I can't imagine they haven't already called him.
Yeah, that's probably true, though.
So my answer is true. They call him again.
Yeah.
You know, and whether he accepts, I have no idea. But I cannot imagine that they haven't already called and been like, please come back. We're sorry.
We messed up. It's like the whole
Nuno was a mistake. Mourinho was a mistake.
Tuchel thing. PSG wanting Tuchel back.
Yeah. Imagine that.
We messed up. It was our fault.
Yeah. No, I don't know. I don't know where they go. I mean, when Conte comes and does top 4 football, and that's not the Conte way. Mm-mm. And I mean, barely top 4 football at this point. I don't know who do you get in? Who wants to come to Spurs? Their team's kind of upside down.
It's not who wants to come to Spurs. Wait, how did you state that?
Who wants to come to Spurs? Exactly like that.
Okay, cool. It's more like what's the coaching availability for the caliber for the Spurs? You know what I mean?
Well, that's the thing. But Spurs are a team that's right here historically, right here with where they are now, and want to be here.
Yeah.
But all the coaches that are here are looking at
that's what I'm trying to get at.
Not to say Arsenal's better, but like people are talking about, oh, well, when Barcelona calls Mikel, he's going to leave, and it's just like, so who's going to go to Spurs right now if Arsenal can't even keep anybody? I'm not saying Arsenal can't. I'm just saying if that's the prevailing logic, if it's not Poch, who comes back? And also, you kind of got to wonder, it's like the freaking Defense Against the Darkhawks post there, man. It's cursed. Yeah. Poch didn't exactly light the world on fire with PSG, but no one else has, so I'm going to give the benefit of the doubt with him. Nuno was doing fantastic. Went there, can't do anything. Mourinho couldn't win anything with them. Conte can't win anything with them. Certain point, it's like, what the hell? You have, before Haaland, arguably the best striker. He always plays above. He's doing great. You have Heung-min Son. Hugo Lloris, all he's ever done is won a World Cup and gone to a second final. And you just can't win with this team. Yeah, I don't know. It's like the third rail. No one's going to want to touch him.
Somebody's going to have that ambition, though. Somebody's going to I'm going to be the guy that turned this team around.
Yeah. So now you have Potter, who's like the cautionary tale. You had the good thing going with where you were, and you decided to jump up to top 6 club, and you're just getting crapped on because it's not a well-run club.
Do you think I could be convinced?
I don't know. Why would you leave Brighton? Why would you leave Brighton right now?
I don't know. Ask Potter.
Because Potter's got – I know, but that's the thing. So before Potter left, no one had been Potter. Now that Potter's left and you've seen Potter do Potter things, now why would you choose to leave? That's my argument.
Because the Spurs are more willing to spend. That's all I have.
No, I don't know.
I'm not saying that's a good reason to leave. I'm just saying that is a possibility for leaving.
Spend all the money you want. Brighton wins their game in hand, which honestly, I don't know who they're against, but they could. We don't need to look it up. But my point is, mathematically, it's arguably even likely that Brighton are going to be ahead of Spurs. Newcastle. I just don't know why you'd leave Brighton. Okay, maybe not that one. Although Newcastle's on the down.
Yeah, that's where we stay.
Newcastle.
Yeah, I'm still clicking back. Hold on.
I told you we didn't have to look it up, but all right.
I'm doing it, man. I went too far back.
Okay.
Okay, apparently I'm just not going to find it at all, but that's okay. You know what? We won't. We won't because I say we won't.
It's very weird. Newcastle's probably hasn't been scheduled.
I was going to say they haven't.
Oh, it looks like one might be United. Should be bad.
Yep.
And then no, having a hard time finding it.
Yeah, I'm not real. Okay, well, it was worth a shot. I really thought they were going to make it more obvious than that.
But my point is, I don't know why you would leave Brighton for a team that's floundering right now. Mm. And also, quite frankly, you got to have a big head on your shoulders to think that you're going to come in after Conte and do better than Conte did. After Conte failed to do better than Mourinho did. That's all. Anyway, we're getting into a minute. We're getting into an hour and 10 minutes here, so I think we're going to end it there. Looking ahead, just give you a brief, quick, fun update on what is to come. Get off Brighton. Get off Brighton.
We shouldn't have to get off them.
No, I mean, like, I really just want to stop looking at Brighton stuff.
Saturday's fixtures is when we're starting. 7:30 hot and early. Bournemouth against Liverpool.
Yeah, Everton, Brentford, Leeds, Brighton, Leicester, Chelsea, Spurs, Forest, Palace, City. Okay. And then Sunday at 10 is Fulham, Arsenal, United, Southampton, West Ham, Villa, Newcastle, Wolves.
It's a good weekend.
Yeah, I mean, but nothing really jumps out. Maybe
Fulham, Arsenal do, because isn't that a derby technically?
It is a London derby. And they are in the lead, and depending on what happens with Palace City, because City does have to go to Selhurst Park.
And it's Leno going facing Arsenal again. So
Spurs, Forest. Spurs could be caught out. I don't expect them to, but they could.
Yeah, it's hard for Forest to go away from
Newcastle Wolves, because we can see how much Newcastle are actually struggling. So
true. That's a good narrative.
All right, I think we got to call it there. That is our show. We are Swinging at Chins. We cover the Premier League. If you are still listening, thank you very much. Please like, please subscribe, please comment, please send us a DM. Please do whatever you want to do. That would all be great. You can find us on Instagram, on Facebook, on TikTok. I did not mention TikTok earlier. It is still legal, so we're still on it.
Yes, we are.
And if you are still here, thank you very much for listening.
Thank you, guys. Appreciate it.
Hello, everyone. Thank you very much for listening. Links for anything that you could be interested in, whether it's the YouTube channel, our podcast links, our social media links, everything's in the description below. Thank you very much for listening.